Welcome to Telugu One Academy. My name is Anand Pawar. I teach polity and our today's topic is fundamental rights. We would be discussing features of fundamental rights in this class. Okay. As we have discussed what fundamental rights are, how important they are for the overall development of any individual and obviously for the nation. So these fundamental rights are enshrined in part 3 of the constitution, under article 12 to 35. Very important part, and we need to know concepts of fundamental rights. We need to know what each and every article under fundamental rights, because they are very important in the exam point of view. అది చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఎనీ ఎగ్జామ్ కానివ్వండి, మనకి మేజర్ క్వశ్చన్స్ ఫండమెంటల్ రైట్స్ నుంచి వస్తాయి. అలాగే ఫండమెంటల్ రైట్స్లో క్వశ్చన్స్ చాలా కన్ఫ్యూజన్గా కూడా ఉంటాయి, బికాజ్ దే ఆర్ మెనీ ఆర్టికల్స్ అండ్ we need to remember those articles. We have to compare one article with other. No, we have 6 categorized fundamental rights and we need to almost remember those fundamental rights. Here when we say features of fundamental rights, what are the characteristics of fundamental rights? So availability, to whom these fundamental rights are available. So fundamental rights, why we have this availability? Because fundamental rights are not uniform for everyone. We know some fundamental rights are meant only for citizens of India and few fundamental rights are meant for both citizens and foreigners. We exclude enemy countries when we say foreigners. So few fundamental rights are available to only citizens. That is why we call them as availability. For example, right to equality, available to citizens. Right against offense, available to both citizens and foreigners. So these are things where few fundamental rights are available to only citizens and few are available to both citizens and foreigners. Fundamental rights are not absolute. Not absolute in sense we have a limitation. We could say we have some limitations and at some circumstances in some time we could impose limitations on fundamental rights. That is the reason why I say they are qualified, not absolute. For example, when emergency is imposed, then we have a limitations on fundamental rights. So that is the reason we say fundamental rights are not absolute, they are qualified. We should know that the government could impose reasonable restrictions on our fundamental rights, not in normal times, but at the time of emergency. For example, if there is a external aggression, if there is a war, when country is in the war, then the government or the parliament could restrict our fundamental rights, as happened in the time of emergency. That is the reason why we call fundamental rights are qualified. They are not absolute. The parliament can curtail fundamental rights and you cannot move Supreme Court in such circumstances. We also say that fundamental rights are against arbitrary action of the state. What is arbitrary action? ఎప్పుడైతే స్టేట్ ఒక సైంటిఫిక్గా ఒక పద్ధతిగా ఏదైనా లా రాకుండా ఉంటే, ఇష్టానుసారంగా ఒక లా తీసుకొస్తే ఫండమెంటల్ రైట్స్ వాటిని అడ్డుకోవచ్చు. అకార్డింగ్ టు ఫండమెంటల్ రైట్స్, ద కోర్ట్ కుడ్ కర్టైల్ దోస్ యాక్షన్స్ ఆఫ్ ద స్టేట్స్ విచ్ హ్యావ్ టేకెన్ డిసిజన్ ఆర్బిట్రరీలీ. ఒక ప్రజల ఇష్టానికి వ్యతిరేకంగా, ఇఫ్ ద స్టేట్స్ యాక్షన్ ఇస్ అగెయిన్స్ట్ ద ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద పీపుల్, దెన్ ద కోర్ట్, ద సుప్రీం కోర్ట్ ఆర్ హై కోర్ట్ could make those law illegal or void if those laws are arbitrary in sense not well thought, not well approached. So it may be decided by some group which is against democratic values of the nation. So fundamental rights helps us, or it ensures that the state's action are not arbitrary. It will ensure that fundamental rights ensure that state should frame laws, or state should bring policies within the constitution, within the scope of the constitution, because ultimately constitution is the source of all the three branches. We derive power from the constitution. Parliament derives power from the constitution, and parliament should function according to the constitution. If any policy or if any law which is not within the limits of the constitution, it may be quashed by court, or it may be declared illegal, it may be declared void. So fundamental rights helps us to protect our fundamental things, our freedom, our liberty. That is the reason why we call these fundamental rights act against states' arbitrary action. Arbitrary action is a negative word. It is against democracy, is against people's interest. So had we don't fundamental rights, definitely we would be having a position where state would become more despotic, state would become more authoritarian. So fundamental rights ensures that the political party or any person should make laws within the ambit of the constitution. They should ensure that people's will should be protected. So these fundamental rights acts as a container in making more democratic, in making government function according to the democratic values. And we also say that fundamental rights are both negative as well positive. When we go into fundamental rights, right from Article 14 to Article 35, we would come to know that few fundamental rights restricts our movement, and few fundamental rights help us to grow, help us to progress. So both fundamental rights act as negative as well as positive. We would be dealing this when we see all those fundamental rights. What are the fundamental rights which acts as against negative? What are the fundamental rights which protects our values, which progress for the development of the people? So both we have negative as well as positive approach to fundamental rights. And fundamental rights are justifiable, they are justiciable, meaning we could move Supreme Court or High Court if any state's action violates the fundamental rights or violates the rights of a person. The Article 32 guarantees us to move Supreme Court, and it comes in original jurisdiction. So unlike DPSP, Directive Policy, Directive Principles of State Policy, and fundamental duties, both are not justiciable. These are justiciable. Fundamental rights are justiciable. They are guaranteed by the Constitution, and Supreme Court is protector of the Constitution. It has to make sure that the fundamental rights are protected. Every citizen have to make sure that he is not within the ambit of state's arbitrary action. If any law, if any policy of the government violates, a particular individual could go to Supreme Court and protect his rights. So justiciable is the bedrock, because fundamental rights are guaranteed by the Constitution, because they are called fundamental, because they guarantees the fundamental law of the land. They are justiciable, and that is the reason they are much important in the Constitution. So we also say that fundamental rights are not sacrosanct. Here not sacrosanct is, it is not permanent. పర్మనెంట్ కాదు. ఫండమెంటల్ రైట్స్ని మనము కొన్ని సందర్భాల్లో, కొన్ని ఎమర్జెన్సీ పీరియడ్లో దాని మీద లిమిటేషన్స్ పెట్టవచ్చు. అవి పర్మనెంట్ అని చెప్పలేము. సో దే ఆర్ నాట్ సాక్రసాంక్ట్. దే హ్యావ్ అడాప్టబుల్ ఇన్ నేచర్. దే కుడ్ బి curtailed in certain circumstances, right? For example, during emergency we can suspend fundamental rights. We have two exceptions. Article 20 and Article 21. So these two articles are not suspended, but otherwise all other fundamental rights can be suspended. For example, you cannot have right to freedom of movement, right to freedom of expression in times of emergency. Those fundamental rights could be curtailed by the parliament when we don't have a very peaceful environment. So these right against offense and right for life and liberty, these two are important articles which could not be suspended by the parliament. So except these two fundamental rights, all the fundamental rights could be at times suspended by the parliament. So what is Article 19? Article 19 is right to freedom. Right to freedom, generally what happens when we see external aggression or war? So definitely there are many chances, because already we have said that fundamental rights are not sacrosanct. They are not absolute. They are qualified. That is the reason why I say they are qualified, because at times Article 19 can also get suspended when external aggression is there, or when there is a environment of war. So fundamental rights scope is limited by Article 31 and 31B. We would be discussing these in details when we come to articles. So other features are, so when we say it has some limitations, it has some expressions or some exemptions, as we can say. Fundamental rights can be restricted to armed forces. We know armed forces, right from military, paramilitary, police. So these fundamental rights may not be applicable for them, because they are uniformed personnel. They have to work for the safety and they have to protect people, they have to maintain law and order. So they may not enjoy fundamental rights as a common citizen, because they are armed personnel, they are on borders, they work for the safety of the people. So for them these fundamental rights may not be applicable as applicable to a common man, as applicable to a common citizen. So Article 34, military rule. When there is a military rule or when there is a martial law in any state or in any area, then fundamental rights are not guaranteed in that area. Supreme Court or High Court may not intervene, because we have already mentioned that in our constitution. By Article 34, when there is a military rule or where there is a martial law, we cannot guarantee fundamental rights as in normal times. So fundamental rights are self-executory. Many, not all, but many fundamental rights are self-executory, and other few fundamental rights need laws to make them function. So self-executory is, we have few fundamental rights in the constitution, for that no law is required. Once it is mentioned in the constitution, it is self-executory. డైరెక్ట్గా అది ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతుంది. అలానే కొన్ని ఫండమెంటల్ రైట్స్కి ఒక చట్టం తీసుకురావాలి. అలా ఫండమెంటల్ రైట్స్లో రెండు రకాలు ఉంటాయి, కొన్ని సెల్ఫ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ ఉంటుంది, కొన్ని వాటికి చట్టం తీసుకురావాలి. సో వీ హ్యావ్ బోత్. We have few fundamental rights which can have a direct execution, that is self-executory, and few fundamental right needs basis of the law. Parliament should bring some law to make fundamental rights practicality, to bring them a practical nature. Parliament should bring some law that is mentioned in Article 35. So we also need to know what are the exceptions for the fundamental rights. It is not that fundamental rights is guaranteed to all the citizens. ప్రతి పౌరుడికి ప్రాథమిక హక్కులు గ్యారంటీ అని లేదు, కొన్ని ఎక్సెప్షన్స్ కూడా ఉంటాయి. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ పోలీస్ కానివ్వండి, మిలిటరీ కానివ్వండి, పారామిలిటరీ ఫోర్సెస్ కానివ్వండి, లేదంటే వేరే ఇతర యూనిఫామ్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ కానివ్వండి, రా కానివ్వండి. సో వాళ్ళకి ఫండమెంటల్ రైట్స్ వర్తించవు కొన్ని సర్కమ్స్టాన్సెస్లో, బికాస్ దే ఆర్ సంథింగ్ ఎల్స్. They don't function as a common man, because they have to work something else, somewhere else. They will be protecting our borders. They would be protecting our intelligence. So for them we cannot guarantee fundamental rights as generally we guarantee to our common people. So there are few exceptions where fundamental rights are not given to few personnel. Moving on. Now this is where we have seen what fundamental rights are, introduction to fundamental rights, we've also seen some features of fundamental rights. Now we would be dealing with fundamental rights in detail. So Article 12, very important article, where we have a definition of state. See, when we say fundamental right, that is for people, for a common man, ప్రాథమిక హక్కులు, అది ఒక ప్రతి మనిషికి కావాల్సిన ఒక we have that fundamental right which ensures that there is a development, there is a growth. బట్ అది ఎవరు తీసుకొస్తారు? ఫండమెంటల్ రైట్ ఒక కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ మనకి ఇచ్చింది. అయితే స్టేట్ అనేది ఏంటి? వాట్ ఈస్ స్టేట్? స్టేట్ అంటే ఇక్కడ స్టేట్ గవర్నమెంట్ కావచ్చు, సెంట్రల్ గవర్నమెంట్ కావచ్చు, ఎనీ లోకల్ బాడీ కావచ్చు, అది ఒక డెఫినేషన్. సో ఏదైతే ఒక లా తీసుకువస్తుందో ఆ లా ఒకవేళ మన ప్రాథమిక హక్కుల్ని వైలేట్ చేస్తుందో అప్పుడు మనం సుప్రీంకోర్టుకి కానీ హైకోర్టుకి కానీ అప్రోచ్ అవ్వచ్చు. సో యాక్చువల్లీ స్టేట్ అంటే ఏంటి? So we need to understand what is state. For that matter, Article 12 has given a detailed definition of the word state. So generally we say when state brings a law which is against the fundamental rights, then court could intervene or a citizen could move the court to protect that fundamental right. So here we need to know what state is. State means here government. It may be central government or it may be state government. For example, central government, we know parliament passes the law. Parliament is the apex body which is the ultimate authority to make law, to frame law for India, for entire territory of India. It is the parliament consisting of two houses, both Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and president. Without president, we cannot pass any law. Ultimately, president has to sign on that bill to make it a law. So in parliament, we have three components. Lok Sabha, actually it should be president, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So parliament has three components. So parliament will bring laws which is affected in entire country, that is the jurisdiction is entire India. And we also has a government at legislature level, that is states. We know every state has its own assembly, we call it as assembly, and in union we call it as parliament. Legislature is a common word. So in state government also state is defined. Here in state we know it's parliament at union level, it's assembly at the state level. And in three-tier system, as we know, we have municipalities, we have panchayat raj according to article 243. We have local authorities. Even state is also defined, a local authority which also holds some power, like we know Zilla Council, it is also have some power to pass few bills which could affect that particular mandal or particular district. So even that authority is included in the word state. Here the word state is defined so elaborately that all the authority which is actually have power to pass laws which could affect the life of the people, that is defined as a state. Any authority or any body, be it statutory body or non-statutory body, for example companies, for example any thing which is associated fully or partly by the government has some authority to pass the laws. Like we have board, for example electricity board, it could also bring some laws to just hike the electricity bill. If that electricity bill or the tariff of electricity could affect the normal rights of the people, then any common citizen could move the court. That is what the state is. State is included all those central government, state government, local government and all statutory and non-statutory authorities. So state is well defined in Article 12. We need to understand the definition of state, because we may expect a question here. State according to Article 12, central government, state government, local authority, none of the above, or we could miss something. So we need to know that all these four things comes under the definition of state: parliament, assembly, local authorities and statutory and non-statutory authorities or bodies. So once we know what state is, we could move on. So here when we say applicability, when we say applicability of the fundamental rights, we have to know that fundamental rights, few fundamental rights are for only citizen of India. They are applicable to only citizen of India, and few fundamental rights are applicable to both citizens of India and the foreigners also. So we have to make a distinguish. We have to know what fundamental rights are applicable to only citizen of India and what are those rights which also applicable to foreigners. Here when we say foreigners, we exclude enemy countries. Enemy countries are not treated as foreigners. So what are the fundamental rights which are guaranteed to only citizens of India? So what is Article 15? This we will be going into detail. Like for example, Article 15 is prohibition of discrimination. Prohibition of discrimination only on the grounds of religion, region, caste, sex and place of birth. So 15 article, the components in Article 15 are only applicable to the citizen of India. So prohibition of discrimination against these things. So we can also say that for foreigners we are not applying this article. We can have discrimination when it comes to foreigners, but for citizens we cannot discriminate only on the grounds. We have to see this only when we discuss these details. There is a very valuable word, only. Only. Prohibition of discrimination only on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex and place of birth. So all these 5 things only. So only state. So only state could prohibit. So discrimination on these 5 things. That is Article 15, only applicable for the citizens and not for the foreigners. When we say Article 16, it's providing employment. Providing employment. The state should provide employment to everyone, to the needies. So this provision of employment is only applicable for citizens of India. They are not applicable for the foreigners. So Article 19, right to freedom. We have right to freedom of expression, right to freedom of speech, right to freedom of assembly, right to freedom of association, right to movement and right to settle anywhere in India. We have these 5 components in Article 19 which is guaranteed only for citizens. They are not guaranteed for foreigners. So we have to know what are the articles which are given exclusively for citizens of India. Article 29, Article 30, these have, we have a freedom to protect our culture, freedom to protect our culture and for language, scripts for minorities and all. So this is also guaranteed only for the citizens and not for the foreigners. So we have to just understand, just remember in a logical way. Article 15, 16, 19, 29 and 30 are guaranteed only for the citizens. It's a very important point in view of examinations. There may be some confusing questions in that. Generally when we also know what are the fundamental rights which are guaranteed for both citizens and foreigners, we would be clear. We would be clear in remembering these. Moving on to the next topic. See, it's a very detailed thing. What are the fundamental rights which are guaranteed for both citizens of India and also for the foreigners, foreign nationals. So these are the fundamental rights. Many elaborate. See, Article 14, right to equality. 20, right against offense, right for life and liberty. This Article 21A, very newly given article, right for elementary education, right against arrest and detention. Article 22, foreigners, foreigners cannot be arbitrarily arrested. They cannot be detained. They have the fundamental right. Any foreigner who landed in this country, makes any thing which is against the law, they cannot be arbitrarily detained by the police or by any such enforcement agency. So even foreigners have the life. They have right against offense, right against life, right for life and liberty. Article 21, they can also enjoy this Article 21A, that is right for elementary education, free education. Article 22, right against detention. So these are the things, many things, like when we say Article 23 and 24, they are also very important. Generally, these articles gives us right against human trafficking, right against labor, forced labor. So ilanti rights kuda foreigners ki kuda vartistayi. So we have Article 25, 26, 27, 28. This is right for religion. Religion ki sambandhinchi ఈ రైట్స్ ఉన్నాయి. దే ఫారినర్స్ కుడ్ ఆల్సో ఎంజాయ్ దీస్ రైట్స్. So our constitution has very elaborately given few rights which are applicable only for citizens of India, and many rights which are applicable to both citizens and foreigners. And when we discuss each article in detail, we would be knowing very much about these articles. I've just given a small introduction about these, but we have to know each and every article in detail. We need to also be comparing each article one by one. So this is just we are knowing what are the basic features of the constitution. So we are just briefly knowing this. So when we say applicability, we say few are applicable to citizens and few are applicable to foreigners. So now we would be going into detail in our fundamental rights chapter, which is under part 3. Again I am repeating, fundamental rights are mentioned in part 3 of the constitution. Important part 3, where we have fundamental rights. Part 4, we have directive principles of state policy. Part 4a, fundamental duties. These 3 parts are very much important, and we know that fundamental duties were not part of our original constitution. They have been amended, they have been added. So part 4 also have part 4a. Under article 51a, we have fundamental duties. So in coming classes we would be doing those fundamental duties, DPSP, and fundamental rights also. Very important topic in Indian polity, where we could expect many questions from these, and obviously the questions are so close that without conceptual clarity we would be landing in a wrong answer. So first we'll know what right to equality is. Right to equality guaranteed by Article 14. So we have 2 provisions in right to equality. We have equality before law, and equal protections of the law. There is much difference and obviously much confused chapter. We have to know this. What is equality before law? Equality before law, we have taken this from UK. And equal protection of laws, or equal protection by laws also, can be said that this we have taken from United States of America. So we need to understand in detail what is equality before law and what is equal protection of law. So Article 14 guarantees us equality, right to equality. In that we have equality before law. So what is equality before law? Equality ante ప్రతి మనిషి చట్టం ముందు సమానం. అందరూ చట్టానికి సమానులే. ఎవరు పెద్దలు కాదు, ఎవరు చిన్నవాళ్ళు కాదు. సో ఇక్కడ నో స్పెషల్ ప్రివిలేజెస్ గివెన్ టు ఎనీ సింగిల్ పర్సన్. ఒక వ్యక్తికి కానీ ఒక సంస్థకి కానీ ఒక ప్రయారిటీ అనేది ఇవ్వరు. లా అందరికీ సమానము, లా ముందు అందరూ సమానులే. సో ఈక్వాలిటీ బిఫోర్ లా ఈజ్ నో స్పెషల్ ప్రివిలేజెస్ ఆర్ నో స్పెషల్ protection given to those persons or those individuals. So when we say equality before law, we say that there is nothing special to anyone. Maybe he's rich, maybe he's poor, special privileges are not given. Everyone is equal before the law. Another provision in this is equal subjection of laws. When I say equal subjection of laws, every law of the land, we know constitution is the highest law of the land, and we derive every power from the constitution. All the 3 branches of the government, be it parliament, be it executive, or be it judiciary, all these 3 branches derives their power from the parliament. So Parliament is like law making body, and when a parliament brings law, or when judicial gives a judgment, that judgment is applicable to all persons. Every person has subjugation under the law, so we are a subject of law. Law is for everyone, equal for everyone, so equal subjection of laws on all the people. That is one thing. And when we say no person is above law, here we say no special privileges, here we say no person is above law. ఒక మనిషి కి స్పెషల్ ప్రివిలేజెస్ అనేది ఉండదు, చట్టం ముందు అందరూ సమానులే. ఇక్కడ ఏ మనిషి చట్టం కన్నా పెద్దది కాదు. ఎవ్రీ పర్సన్ ఈజ్ బిలో ద లా. So here law is ultimate, and every person, irrespective of his stature, class, region, religion, every person is below the law. That is where we call it as rule of law. We follow rule of law. Rule of law is such a beautiful word given by A.V. Dicey. So here no person is above law. That is where we could maintain equality. చట్టం ముందు అందరూ సమానులే. సో ఒక వ్యక్తి కానీ ఒక వ్యవస్థ కానీ చట్టానికి పైన ఉండదు. చట్టం అనేది అందరికీ సమానంగా ఉంటుంది, వ్యక్తి ముందు కాదు, చట్టం ముందు. లా ఈజ్ అబౌవ్ and person is below. So every person should be subjugated under the law. Equal subjection. Prati manishi, irrespective of his position, posture, everyone is under the law. So this is what right to equality is. You just imagine if there is no right to equality, what had happened? No, there might be a chaos, ఒక టైప్ ఆఫ్ కన్ఫ్లిక్ట్ వచ్చేది. ఈ సమానత్వం లేకుంటే ఎవరి దగ్గర అయితే ఎక్కువ డబ్బులు ఉన్నాయో వాళ్ళు చట్టాన్ని కొనుక్కునేవాళ్ళు. సో పీపుల్ హూ హ్యాడ్ మోర్ అసెట్స్ వుడ్ డెఫినెట్లీ వైలేటెడ్ ద లాస్. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద రీజన్ వై హ్యావ్ ఈక్వాలిటీ. ఈక్వాలిటీ గివ్స్ అస్ అ సెన్స్ ఆఫ్ జస్టిస్, బీ ఇట్ సోషల్ జస్టిస్, political justice, economic justice. Equality ensures us to work, to come out and work. So equality gives us a sense of protection. That is why we call fundamental rights are such an important part of the Constitution, which motivates us, which guarantees us to bring more special things from us and to contribute for the development of the nation. So this is what equality before law is. Other aspect of right to equality we need not to confuse here is just a small difference. As we say equality, right to equality, we have brought that equality before law is brought from United Kingdoms, and here right to equality, equal protection law, this we have brought from United States of America. So very nominal difference here. So what is equal protection of law? Equal protection of law. So equality of treatment under equal circumstances. ఈక్వల్ సర్కమ్స్టాన్సెస్ అంటే ఒక సమాన పరిస్థితిలో అందరినీ సమానంగా చూడాలి. పరిస్థితులు వేరేగా కావచ్చు. వెన్ వి సే ఈక్వల్ ప్రొటెక్షన్ ఆఫ్ లా, this is a positive concept of equality, and that provision was a negative concept. Here మనం ఏం చెప్తున్నామంటే ఈక్వాలిటీ ఆఫ్ ట్రీట్మెంట్ అండర్ ఈక్వల్ సర్కమ్స్టాన్సెస్. ఇక్కడ అందరూ సమానులే అని మనము జనరల్గా చెప్పలేము. బికాజ్ we know a healthy man and a old woman may not be equal, or a child and a man cannot be equal. వాళ్ళిద్దరికి ఒక వ్యత్యాసం ఉంటుంది. there is a difference. సో మనం జనరల్గా చూస్తుంటాము ఆర్టీసీ బస్సెస్ కానివ్వండి, ట్రైన్ కానివ్వండి, we have reserved some seats for elder people, for women. So it is like we are exception, we have some exceptions. ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే ఈక్వాలిటీ ట్రీట్మెంట్ ఉండాలి, ఎక్కడ ఈక్వల్ సర్కమ్స్టాన్సెస్ ఉన్నప్పుడే ఉండాలి. అదర్వైజ్ వీ కెనాట్ జస్ట్ సే దట్ అ ఓల్డ్ లేడీ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు అ యంగ్ మ్యాన్. So there has to be some difference, no? So we have to treat that equality of treatment in equal circumstances. పరిస్థితులు సమానంగా ఉన్నప్పుడే ఆ సమానత్వం అనేది మనం చూస్తాము. So that is one aspect of this. And we say similar application of laws. ఒక మనిషికి ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఒక క్రైమ్ చేస్తే ఇంకో మనిషికి ఆ క్రైమ్ చేస్తే ఆ లాస్ అనేది ఇద్దరికి ఈక్వల్గా అప్లికబుల్ అవ్వాలి. సో వన్ లా షుడ్ బి ఈక్వల్లీ సిమిలర్ వైలేషన్కి సిమిలర్ లా అప్లికబుల్ కావాలి. సో సిమిలర్ అప్లికేషన్ ఆఫ్ లాస్. అండ్ లైక్స్ షుడ్ బి ట్రీటెడ్ అలైక్. లైక్స్ అంటే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ సమానంగా ఉన్నవాళ్ళు, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ గ్రూప్ ఆఫ్ యంగ్ మ్యాన్, దే హ్యావ్ టు ట్రీటెడ్ అలైక్. అందరూ సమానంలే. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ వీ కెన్ సే in few colleges we have both girls and boys, there is a co-education. So there definitely we cannot apply that particular law for them because there is some difference in them, be it physical difference, be it mental. So we cannot say that everyone should be cross this level. ఈ లాంగ్ జంపింగ్ అనుకుందాము, హై జంపింగ్ లో ఒకటి లెవెల్ ఇచ్చేసి అందరూ దాన్ని జంప్ చేయాలి అని సమానంగా పెట్టలేము మనం. దేర్ ఈజ్ నాట్ ఈక్వాలిటీ దేర్ బికాజ్ వీ హ్యావ్ జెండర్ డిఫరెన్సెస్. సో లైక్స్ షుడ్ బి ట్రీటెడ్ అలైక్. లైక్స్ మాత్రమే అలైక్గా చూడాలి. ఎవ్రీవన్ ఈజ్ నాట్ సింగిల్, ఎవ్రీవన్ ఈజ్ నాట్ alike. So there may be an exception in this. That is where like we have reservation system for ST, SC, OBC minority. There is some privileges given to them because everyone are not alike, be it economically and be it socially. So there are some things where we cannot say that equality is absolute, everyone should be equal. There are things likes should be treated alike, and there may be government may involve and give some provisions where there is an interest to bring them or to uplift them. So we have few exceptions for that. That is what we say that equal protection of law. In equality, in right to equality, as we said, we have two dimensions. One is equality before law and equal protection of law. Thank you for watching this video. We would be continuing this in our other classes. Please like, if you like this video, please subscribe to this. For getting notifications, press that bell icon. Thank you so much.